Hi, I'm Jale, welcome to my channel. This is going to be about the up and coming transition of Lilith into Aries, which is going to be essentially an end of about a 9-year cycle. Now, as it stands at the moment, Lilith is currently in Pisces and is about to go into Aries, which is the start of a brand new cycle, around the 1st of February. As it stands at the moment, Lilith is currently conjunct Chiron, which is, Chiron is the almost like the wounded healer kind of planet, okay, and Lilith being the kind of a little bit of the wounded feminine. So essentially between now and the beginning of February, first of all, there's a cycle of about 9 years of kind of closure of any wounded feminine elements, any healing of the wounded feminine elements that will be coming up for cleansing and or transmuting. Now, if you're watching this and thinking I'm a guy, what's this got to do with me? A lot, because we have both feminine and masculine within us, okay? We're not just any one thing. Now, obviously, you know, you'll identify it as more one or the other potentially, but ideally you want to get a balance of both. That's how I view things. And obviously you just, you know, you do what you need to do. You view things how you need to view things. So let's see what Spirit want to bring up here about this transition. Now, obviously, a good way to check this would be looking at, and I think it's about 8 years and 311 days, that's when the cycle completes, okay? So have a look around the 8-9 year mark around this time and see what was going on in your life, what were the main themes, because usually that will show you where Lilith was prevalent, okay? Now again, you might look back and think, oh my goodness, I've got a theme that's reoccurring from that time. This is about closure of that, okay? Or maybe something started around that time that is now coming to an end at this present moment. So let's just see what the guides have to give us, want to say about this closure of this cycle, about Chiron. Okay, so we've got the Mother of Swords here, and we've got the Mother of Cups, okay? So this is usually, this is the, first of all, this is in this deck, this is the Wild Unknown deck, by the way. This is usually the Queen of Cups and the Queen of Swords, okay? Now, the Queen of Swords is usually can be an air sign, so Aquarius, Libra, Gemini. This is the kind of badass, basically. She nothing gets past her. She's very verbally able. She will cut her. Oh my God, swearing again. He or she will cut someone off. They know their truth. They know boundaries. They know what they want. They know what they don't want. And this is someone who is very verbally able to stand their ground, okay? However, it can be someone who will kind of swipe their sword and ask questions later, all right? Can be. And it can be someone who can be a little bit aloof and or detached. And it can also be someone who is a little bit can be someone who is a little bit kind of unapproachable and or standoffish. So again, it's like there's a warrior energy behind this, okay? So it's interesting this card's come up because we've got the counter, complete opposite of that, which is the Mother of Cups, which is essentially the Queen of Cups. So this is the nurturing, mothering energy. This is the paternal or the maternal, okay? This is someone who's very deeply in touch with their feminine element, someone who is very deeply, I feel like crying talking about this. This can be a water sign, this could be Scorpio, Pisces and or Cancerian. Very kind of intuitive, very receptive energy, okay? From these two cards, we need to be very aware between now and the 1st of February of, don't sort of watch the bark, yeah? Like, don't sort of, it's almost like there's a very protective energy around this. It's like someone's trying to hoard their children, their nest, their eggs, their kind of like, someone's trying to kind of look after their family and or what they love, their loved ones, you know, and they'll do anything to kind of ensure that that is protected. There's a bit of a defensive energy, all right? So just be aware between now and the beginning of February, you being poked a little bit and prodded a little bit, and that you're not kind of like, you know, like reacting very, very strongly, because there's a risk of this happening, especially going from a Pisces energy into an Aries energy, because that's essentially what's happening. Now, obviously, with Chiron, that's currently conjunct Lilith at the moment, there's a risk of these kind of feminine wounds potentially being pressed a little bit, which is what I've just spoken about. But there's also a double risk when it transitions and closes out that 8-year cycle into Aries, that there is a fiery element to this afterwards, where we're not just barking, we're biting as well. So just be very aware, because again, it's a test. Like, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news with all these. This is the year of tests, like between now and April, because don't forget, we've got officially the energetic new year on the 22nd, all right? So, which is essentially, obviously, when this video is going out. So we've got, again, this is in my opinion, the new year doesn't kind of end on the 31st. In my opinion, it starts on the 22nd of January. Now, a lot of cultures do celebrate, like Nowruz, which is the Iranian New Year. They celebrate around this time, and I think the Chinese New Year do as well. In my opinion, I've found that the energy usually does shift around this date, and it's usually a closure of a previous year cycle. So just watch for transitioning into that you're not carrying any of that wounded energy or anything that needs to be, any loose ends needs to be tied up, because it's important we start as we move to go on. We want to start a fresh new decade and a new year in a positive way, and we're not getting caught up in little traps and little ego kind of wounds and whatever else, because especially if it's a brand new 8-9 year cycle and new decade and new year, it's kind of important that we start as we mean to go on. Bottom of the deck, 9 of Pentacles, that's an abundant energy. So it means that there's I don't know why I've just heard this, but I've heard the year of the dog. I don't think it is the year of the dog, and I don't know why I'm hearing this, but they're talking about the Chinese New Year. One sec. Yeah, it's interesting, because I think it's the year of the dragon, 2020. But the year of the dog is 1958, 1970, 1982, 1994, 2006, and 2018. Now, for some reason, they're giving me the year of the dog, and I don't know why. I'm hearing tested loyalty to the self. Tested loyalty to the self. Will you honour yourself? Will you honour yourself? Honour your abundance, honour your energetic kind of femininity, or will you choose to dishonour yourself? Again, it's the bite references. It's the bark's worse than the bite. There's something about this that is not just a simple 9-year end of a cycle. It's like that there's a layer that's being stripped here, that again, it's like in this card here in the 9 of Pentacles, it's like the feathers are protecting the 9 coins, and the protective layers being removed in order to kind of get what is needed, get what is deserved. It's like they want to remove this protective layer into the more mushier stuff, the more heart-centered energy, the more abundant energy. Okay, so just watch for any triggers, because they don't want you to step into the Queen, too much of the Queen of Swords energy with this, because it's not for, this energy isn't suited to the Queen of Swords energy. Okay. Now, interestingly, we've got the 7 of Pentacles, which is usually about bearing seeds. It's like, you know, preparing something over a long period of time, taking its time, sowing seeds, and then waiting and reaping the rewards afterwards, after a prolonged period of time, after a sustained growth cycle and or period that bears fruit after the necessary growth. Okay. Now, interestingly, we've got the Page of Cups, which is usually about a love offering, And I'm hearing a love offering to the self. Love yourself. And then we've also got the Knight of Wands. I'm going to be really... This is interesting. It's like they're giving you... You're going to get a choice. Do you want the long... The long path that could essentially take you a little bit further out and that maybe you'd have to do more work? Or do you want the instant reward? Do you want the instant reward which is going to bear fruit immediately, or do you want to invest in something that is going to really help you long term? Spirit are suggesting you take the investment because it's going to heed a much bigger result at the end of it. Watch for whatever you're offered between the 21st and the beginning of February, because it's a test. And again, I'm going to say this a million times between now and April. I apologise, but it is. It is. Like, I would be wrapping up as many cycles as possible, because what that will show, Spirit, is that you're willing to change and you're willing to do the work. Especially if you want something. If you're like, I really want a sort of an upgrade in this area of my career, or I really want this to happen, show your side of things. This is about a sustained love of the self rather than short-term success. Long-term rewards, short-term success. Make the decision. Choose very wisely. Here we go. I've just seen another card that I knew was going to come out. I knew that was going to come out. Yeah. I knew this was going to come out. This is so relevant. They're so sneaky. So sneaky. Two of Swords. Traditionally in the tarot deck, it's the guy that's holding the swords across his heart, protecting his heart with the blindfold. He can't see because he's not willing to see, or she's not willing to see. Bearing, crossing the heart, doesn't want to feel, doesn't want to understand. Too much to feel, too much to understand. So just decides not to. Decides that it's easier not to see, decides it's easier not to feel, decides it's easier not to know. It's an illusion, because when you know you can do something about it, you're going to get a chance to peek into your something that is for you. You're going to get a chance to notice and really see that and make a decision. Okay, this is you've got big decisions coming up, right? This is insane. These next two cards are insane. The Devil. Temptation. Temptation. Do you want this? Do you want this? Look, it's got a lovely little bow on top. It's got a brilliant little bow on top. But what's inside? What is inside? And look, it's being presented here, but there's something that I can see in the distance that's also being presented, but I'm not entirely sure what that is, and I feel like I'm going to have to wait for it. Do you take the immediate self-gratification, or do you wait and look and invest in your future? Do you take the immediate self-gratification, what's in the immediate now, what's being presented in the immediate now, and think, yeah, that's great, that'll do me, without kind of knowing, you know, we don't know what's going to happen, we don't know what's coming towards me, because it feels like something is actually coming towards you that is of greater benefit, that they're trying to put some little tests in front of you here to see if you're going to take the instant gratification rather than close out a cycle and go for the long-term success. This is what I see, and the reason I say that is because we've got the Ace of Pentacles. This is a closure of a cycle. The Ace of Pentacles is a brand new cycle where there's an investment that's been made, and the investment is usually one of practical growth, stability, tangible, an offering that has a long-term benefit. It's going to be different for everyone. Eight of Cups. What doesn't fulfill you? What are you holding on to that you know isn't fulfilling for you? That you're just holding on to out of fear that something won't come along? Because the Eight of Cups suggest, from where I'm reading this, as you're walking away or putting something down that you're not entirely sure about because there's just something in the back of your mind that isn't 100% fulfilling for you. Okay? It doesn't have to be a person, it could be a job, it could be a life goal, it could be a family member, it could be any number of situations, it could be where you're living. This is about putting it down, putting something down that you know on a deep level, on an emotional level, is not fulfilling you. This is what this cycle is closing out. So whatever, something that you've taken from 8-9 years ago that is still following you around, and I'm hearing the self. Is it self-doubt? Are you doubting yourself and putting yourself down so much that you're not starting a new cycle because you're putting it off, and you're taking the self-gratification, the immediate rewards, over something that needs investment and time? Because we've got here the Eight of Pentacles. This is about work. This is about getting to work, okay? And as you can see, the pentacles are kind of around the spider's web. So there's an element here of having to get to certain points in order to sort of create that abundance, create that. It's a working energy, it's a work in progress type energy, okay? But in order for you to kind of get through this, it's like you're going to close a huge cycle. Right, this is the second time the Page of Cups has come up. What can you clarify, please, in reference to the Page of Cups? I'm hearing illusion. We've got the Queen of Swords come up again, and the Page of Cups. Are you blindly following a principle and or a feeling that you think is going to give you rewards, but it won't? Are you blindly following something that you feel should have given you something back now, but it hasn't? We've got the Seven of Cups in reverse. So at one point in time this would have been upright, and there would have been some angst in order to decide which cup has what you want and what you need. There was a choice at one stage, which has now been turned upside down. So it suggests that the choice that once possibly could have been quite hard for you, there's no longer a choice. Alright? And it does also suggest that this Queen of Swords doesn't have to be feminine, can be masculine, let's say, cut off something that they thought was an investment that may not be such a great investment, and actually it was a self-gratification choice that was made a long time ago that now up till this point is coming back around once again to be made again another choice, because the choice that was made, say, 9 years ago was a self-gratification choice, and the long term wasn't taken into consideration. So there's another choice that's needing to be made here, and it means going back and looking over what happened 9 years ago. Let's get some advice from Spirit. Spirit, what advice can you give, please? Yeah, yeah, Death. This can be Scorpio. Death is the end of something, a transition. It's a rebirth. It's a rebirth. So the advice is transmute it, transmute it. We've also got the World in reverse. So this is a cycle that hasn't been able to complete. If it was this way, it would have completed. This is waiting to be transmuted. With the Death and the World in reverse, this is a major cycle here that is waiting to be complete. Now, if you haven't already watched my predictions for 2020, okay, pick a card reading, which was posted a couple of weeks ago, I suggest you watch that, because that will probably also give you some more insight into what this is about, all right? Because I give a month by month rundown. If you haven't already watched that, it's a bit of a long one, but what I would suggest you do is maybe sort of watch a bit of it and then go back to it when you've got time, because it's a long one. But it's going to be, I watch it because I wanna be given a heads up about myself as well, you know. But there's something about this cycle here that is coming to a close, but it's going to link you back 9 years ago. Alright, so have a look into that. Because if you can close it out, we've got the Sun card here, which is amazing. Which means that if you, because again, with the predictions I made, 2020 predictions, there's a couple of groups of you, and the first group is going to really transition through a lot of this karma by April. And if you get this kind of looked at, you look like you're going to be one of the first groups come April that I'm looking at here that is going to really make a huge change to things for this year. Which means you're not going to have to kind of keep going through cycles and loops between April and sort of August, which is potentially what others will have to go through. And I know that sounds terrible, but it's just whoever understands the lessons and whoever does the work. It's like, it's not to say, oh, you know, spirit are really harsh and we just want to kind of make everyone suffer. It's not that. It's to learn, you know. Trust me, I wish they hadn't done half the things they've done to me, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't be doing this if they hadn't, so I can't really moan about that, you know. I can't pick and choose what blessings they give me and then sort of moan about what, you know, the lessons that I had to kind of learn to get there. That's just not how it works. I wish it was, you know, I wish it was different, but it's not. But there's a huge blessing coming. We've got the Sun card here. Okay. And we've got the Ten of Cups on the bottom of the deck. That's awesome. Right. So yeah, look back 9 years ago when Lilith was just transitioning. Now, I don't think there would have been a conjunction with Chiron at that point, because Chiron takes longer to... Let's have a look when the last time that happened. One sec. Well, Chiron takes 50 years to complete a cycle, an orbit, a full orbit around, okay? So, let's say, for example, you're under 50, then this is kind of big, you know, this is setting a stage for 50 years. Like, this is not a small thing. This is a large, very large kind of cleansing process. Now, what I would suggest you do, if you don't already know where your Chiron is, because, put it this way, if you want me to have a look into that, and give a brief outline of where your Chiron is, what that could mean for you, any other aspects, then I'm going to do an A4 page for about £10 between now and the 1st. Now, if you're interested in taking me up on that, just send, obviously my PayPal information is in the description box. Just put £10 and obviously send me an email saying, I've sent you the £10. This is so I can understand what Chiron, what's going to happen with Chiron, what's going to happen with Lilith, you know. It's going to be an A4, one A4 sheet, okay? So it's a brief outline. It's not going to go into the whole of your chart, but it's going to give you a brief outline as to what it could suggest is being healed or looked at. If you're interested in that, send us £10. £10, yeah, Great British pounds. And that should take between 3 and 5 days to get to you. If there's any, obviously, potential for it being longer, I will let you know. So yeah, so let's have a look into the outcomes. I want to get an idea of outcomes, and in fact, I want to go to the Earth Magic deck here. So, outcomes. What can you tell us here about this transition from Chiron, conjunct Lilith, and then a transition Lilith into this sign of Aries? What can you tell us here for outcomes? What is the outcome, please, Spirit? Wow. Wake up call. Wake up call. Alright, so that's a very extreme reference. Tsunami, wake up call. But it suggests a very deep emotional cleanse. Alright, so just pay attention to your emotions. around this kind of next, up until the 1st of February, if you feel like your wounded feminine is coming up, it's because of this Chiron conjunction, which is the wounded healer. So again, what I would be doing is looking after yourself, really kind of pampering yourself, because it's probably going to bring up some intense emotions. Just when we thought we hadn't seen enough intense emotions, this start of this year has been insane. Has anyone else? The beginning part of January, has anyone else experienced that? I'm getting everyone messaging me saying, what is this energy? It's because we've got such a heavy stellium in Capricorn, which we haven't seen in 800 years. That the type of conjunctions and the type of energy has not been, I mean, you've got some heavy hitting energy right here of an 800-year cycle being closed off, and then a 50-year cycle. This is the first 4 months of this year. I'm going to be real with you. If you are in some really heavy patterns of behaviour where you have not been able to get yourself out of, like addictions, whatever you do, resolve them as quick as you can. Resolve them as quick as you can, because this is the energy to do it in. This is the energy to do it in. Like I said, I don't know if you saw my other video, but my guides, they woke me up. Will you quit smoking? Will you quit smoking? And honestly, I was so scared. I was like, why? What are you going to do to me? Like, that's the most ridiculous wake-up call. And it was a literal wake-up call. Like, I actually woke up hearing my guides screaming, will you quit? And I jumped out of bed and I was like, I have to quit. I absolutely have to. Like, I'm scared what they're going to do. Now, actually, the day they did it, I actually did quit. I was like, cold turkey. I know, that was ridiculous. I had the worst nicotine withdrawal headaches because I'd smoked for 27 years. Worst idea ever. But get it done. Get it done. Because I'm on to my next thing now. I'm like you know what I mean? I've got tunnel vision. So, because I know this is the thing, they bring up these things to give us a heads up because it's the right energy to do it in. And when it's the right energy, it's a lot easier to do it. Now, obviously, the mindset is one thing, right? Usually the mindset is the one thing that can stop us in these kind of situations, all right? So, I'll give you a little example. The way I really stopped was I was looking at cigarettes. Now, you can apply this to anything. I was looking at cigarettes. Now, bearing in mind, I'm a trained psychotherapist and I am a hypnotherapist as well. So, obviously, I understand the subconscious, you know, how all these things work. But I looked at the cigarettes and I was like, you've hurt me. Like, as if I would, you know, to someone that I'm really angry with, you know. You've hurt my health. You're not doing me any good. Like, I was viewing it as like someone that I just was really not happy with. And that was it. That was it. My the fact that I was, number one, I hate being woken up. So that in itself was not okay with me. And that the spirit knew that. They absolutely, they know how to get through to me, because they know that technique right there, don't wake me up. It's like a bear being prodded, just don't do it. But they know how to get to me. So then you utilise that to your advantage. Because that day I got into that mode. I was like, you're right, spirit are right. That it's not serving me. It's not serving me, it's hurting me, it's harming my health, it's harming me, and I have not come this far to be self-sabotaging my, you know, of me, you know. So, see what you can do. I wish you all the best of luck, but this is a big one, guys. This is a big one, alright? So just see what you can kind of do, and maybe make a list of things. Like, I'm going through lists right now. Like, I've got tunnel vision. Because this is the thing, it's one thing that you change, and it's like a domino effect. So if you're changing your smoking, you've got more health, you've got better health, you've got more motivation, you've got more mobility, you've got better kind of, you know, able to do more cardiovascular activities, which obviously gives you more energy, which again is able to, you know, help you to do more things. So it's like I said, just have a look into these things, make a list of things that you really know as maybe being an 8-9 year cycle or longer. Because the next thing I'm doing is I'm working on my fitness habits. That's my next thing now, because I'm not I'm not sat here kind of giving you all this insight and not doing it myself. Obviously I'm listening to my own advice, because that's what the spirit give me. So when they give it to me, I know to give it to you guys because they tell me to. So anyway guys, I wish you the best of luck. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be getting rid of. And I'm not talking about some ridiculous new year, new me rubbish. I'm talking your head's in the game and you're getting it done. Like, let's see how many of you are getting some real hardcore habits removed. All right, guys, that are going to suit you. So hopefully that's been some help, some benefit to you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Video tomorrow is going to be, we're going to be looking at a particular date in January, which I've been getting some weird vibes about. I want to have a look into that, and then obviously Fridays is going to be the weekend reading, and then starting from the 27th we're going to be looking at the astrological signs, moving from Aries up until Pisces for the month of February. So guys, if you are interested in taking my offer, £10, email me, information in the description box. And thank you for your likes, shares, subscriptions. It means a lot to me. Take good care. Until next time. Bye bye.